Hello guys, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to do a little sit down and chat video since I don't do a ton of those and my plans have changed, so I don't really have the time to film other videos that are longer. So we're doing a little sit down and chat today. Hope you don't mind. For today's videos, I want to go over all of the books that I am planning to reread this year because I am a very strong believer in rereads and a very strong lover of rereads. And I always want to do like 1,000 a year. Usually I'm not that lucky, but yes. And enjoy my bookshelves now while they last, because this is probably going to be the second to last video with these bookshelves, even though I literally just built them. The video that came out before this one was me putting together my bookshelves. But I just recently got a seasonal job, so I'm moving into an apartment for that, but it's seasonal for like 8 months, so it just doesn't make sense to take all these with me. So I'll be taking just a little like 2 shelf that my TV's gonna sit on with my books, so it'll be a sad few months, but it'll be an awesome few months because I'm so excited about this job. But I digress. Let's get into the books that I do want to do a reread of this year. They're gonna be in no particular order except maybe for the order that I pulled them off of my shelves. But other than that, no order. I guess I do have my fantasy and my contemporary separated, but other than that. So let's start. I have 3 contemporary books I want to reread, but maybe a 4th. I might want to reread Heartstopper, but I'm not like putting it on my list because I'm not sure. And just even really count as a reread if it takes me like 3 hours to read the entire series. But I have 3 books here. One is Things We Know by Heart by Jessie Kirby. This book I've literally reread every year since I read it for the first time. What was the first time I read this book? Maybe 2020, 2021, and I've reread it like every year. It's a YA contemporary romance, and I don't know why I love it so much. The vibes are so good, but it's so deep and heavy. But basically, I'll explain this for you because I don't think a lot of people know about this book. It follows a girl whose name I can't remember, Quinn. Like I said, I reread it once every year, but I can't remember the names. It follows Quinn, whose boyfriend died in a car accident, and he was an organ donor, so all of his organs got donated, and she reaches out to all of the recipients, and she gets responses from all of them except for the person who got his heart. And heavy in her grief, she kind of does a little bit of internet stalking, and she finds out who got his heart, and this person's older sister has a blog page, and then she finds out where he lives and his job. And I know it sounds creepy, I know it does, but it all comes from like such a good place in her heart. So she eventually finds him. She wants to just go see that he is like thriving, essentially. But then they accidentally start talking, and then it's so good. It's just so good. So I definitely recommend this one. Even if you're not like a YA person, it takes like 2 hours to read, and it is so worth it. And I reread every year, so definitely on the list. And I do want to reread it soon, but it's such a summer book that I'm gonna try and wait until summer or maybe spring. So that is this one. Next is Amelia Unabridged by Ashley Shoemaker or Shoemaker. I still do not know how to say her name. I have all of her books. You can't see my finger. Those ones. Yeah, there. Next to the Heartstopper books. But I have not reread this one in a while, and I really love this book. It's another YA contemporary romance. It follows a girl who, her best friend dies. There's a theme here, death. Her best friend dies, and she mysteriously gets a copy of their favorite book signed that like shows up at her door. And she's convinced that her dead best friend sent it to her, and she essentially is trying to figure out, because she lives in Texas, I believe, and it came from a bookstore in Michigan, and she basically is like, okay, I'm gonna go to Michigan and figure out how I got this book. And it follows her there, where she meets this person, not man, he's a boy, he's her same age, he starts college age. Are they men? I don't know. College age guy. His name is Nolan, and he not recently, it's actually been quite a few years since his sister's passed away. And yeah, that's all I'm gonna tell you because I don't want to spoil it, even though, is it in the blurb? Oh, it is. Okay, so Nolan, the person that she finds, is actually the author of these books that she was sent. Okay, there you go. There's the blurb. I love it. It's so good, and it's so heavy, and it's so good. And then the one other contemporary I want to reread is From Look Up With Love by Mariana Zapata. I have not read this one since my junior year of high school, maybe my senior year. Which was the first time I read it. It was my first ever like actual adult romance book that I read. And it was so good, guys. This was a life-changing book. I love Mariana Zapata's books. This is the first one I have of hers, and I have 3 others. This year I'm hoping to get to Colty, I think is how you say that. But this one's really good. Basically, it follows an ice skating duo. I don't know if I'd call it Grumpy Sunshine. It's been way too long since I've read this to actually give you a solid synopsis on it, but just ice skating romance, very, very, very slow burn. He does call her Meatball, but we just ignore that. So, and then we get into all the fantasy books that I want to reread. And we have quite the stack here. So I just brought out the first book of all the series, but for most of them I probably want to reread the whole series, which is the Emily Wilde series. I want to reread the whole series because I love this series. Did I reread the first 2 last year and read the third one for the first time when it came out? Yes. But I am prepared to reread them again. They are fantastic. I'm actually hoping to reread this one in February. So this series follows Emily and Wendell, which if you know, you know. My cat's name is Wendell. And they are scholars at Cambridge University, and they study dryadology, which is the study of fairies. And it follows them. This one follows them in I can't remember what the town's name is, but in a very snowy place in Europe, where they're trying to understand the Fae there, and some chaos ensues. There's like a really sad story about a changeling, but it's not I don't think it was supposed to be sad, but it's very sad to me. But it's really good, and then the following 2 books are just as good as the first one. And this is the Barnes & Noble edition. I have 3 editions of these books. Let's not talk about it. The next one, My Babies. I want to reread the whole series. I love this series. Love, 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 love. The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. You can see it is annotated. It is lovely. They're my babies. I want to reread this one. Basically, this book came out of your classic 2012 dystopian era. It follows Ruby when basically all the kids either die or they get these psionic abilities where they can do stuff, and they're sorted by colors, and Ruby's an orange, which means she's got brain control. All the oranges have slightly different powers, but they all have to do with mind control essentially. And it follows her after she gets taken to one of essentially their concentration camps, and then she breaks out, and then we have a found family road trip. What more could you possibly ask for? I know it sounds very light when I say found family road trip, but it is not. It is heavy. I will cry over this series, mostly just because I love it so much, but yeah. Amazing, so I'm going to reread the whole series. Next is Addie LaRue. I have not read this book since it came out. I read it, I think it was the January whenever it came out. I don't know if it came out in January, but the January right after it came out was when I read it. I have 3 copies of this book as well. It is life-changing. I read it before I annotated, I tabbed books before I started writing in books, so I do really want to annotate it and underline and stuff. But I'm sure if you're on BookTube, you have heard of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. But if you haven't, it follows this girl who essentially tries to bargain to get out of a marriage, and the way she's given freedom from that is she becomes immortal, and she lives, and it's kind of just following her as because the immortality also granted no one can remember her, so it follows her over all these years where no one remembers who she is. As soon as they turn around and leave the room, they don't know who she is. So it follows her over these years until she meets someone named Henry, who she steals a book from him, and he's like, hey, and she leaves, and he's like, hey, you have to pay for that. But he remembered her. Okay. That was a really bad explanation. I'm so sorry. but that book is so good. And then next is The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith. This is a YA fantasy. It's kind of like, everyone describes it as Bridgerton meets The Cruel Prince, because there's a cruel fairy queen, and then it's like Regency era in the season. This one came out last year. I read it, loved it, like genuinely I was thinking about it for months after I finished it. And the next book comes out in April, I believe, so I want to reread this one before the next one comes out. I'm so excited. It's so good. It's so good, guys. You don't understand. But it follows Ivy, whose sister has been missing, but she's about to enter her season. And in this version of Regency era, all the girls who enter can have a rose bargain, which is basically the queen is fae, so you get one bargain with the queen. And like it gives you something, so like a lot of them wish to be like immensely beautiful, but then they lose like their left pinky toe, and it's some obnoxious thing. So it follows them, and then it follows them through, like, they end up being trials where the queen is like, okay, you have to go through all of these to like prove that you deserve my son's hand and all that stuff. But it's so good. It's so good. And then the final book, I'm sure you've also heard about it if you're on BookTube, is Six of Crows. This is the special edition. I want to read Crooked Kingdom as well. I also have not reread these since I first read them back in 2020. I read The Darkest Minds, and then this was like my next series I picked up, so these two are very special to me. Yes, I did read this series before Shadow and Bone. I don't care. They were so good, and I really need to reread them. I also have 3 copies of this. No. I have 4 copies of Six of Crows, 3 of Crooked Kingdom, because I don't have this edition of Crooked Kingdom. If you don't know what this one is about, the logline for it is 6 dangerous outcasts, 1 impossible heist, I think, which tells you kind of all you need to know. You throw together 6 random bottom of the barrel, as they put it, outcasts from Kirch, which is this like merchanting town, and they try to go on an impossible heist to break into the ice court, which is like notoriously like guarded and all this stuff. And it's them trying to break in, but it's the best found family in the whole wide world. Maybe not, because I do love The Darkest Minds found family so much as well, but these two top it off. I know. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of this, but it's so good, and I would recommend if you have not heard of it. So there it is. That sums up all of the books that I am planning to reread this year. I think, as of where my head is now, those are all the books that I am planning to reread this year, which is it's a hefty stack, but it is a stack I'm so very excited for. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you're looking forward to some new apartment content, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you somewhere else on the internet. Bye.